Dallas Cowboys fans, this is what you've been looking for. A show discussing the team you love without all the fluff and BS. Host Greg Rector, along with Cowboys writers and content creators from across the country, break it down. This isn't the same old, same old. This is the blue and silver breakdown. How about them Cowboys?
All right, everybody, this is the Blue and Silver Breakdown, and we are, of course, doing the reaction to Micah Parsons being traded away today. I know I'm going to get a lot of garbage from people out there. I have no issue in trading away Micah Parsons. He gets dealt to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round draft picks, a 2026 and a 2027. As well as Kenny Clark comes to Dallas to become the run stopper that this team so desperately needs. I've said this many times before. A quarterback sack is a nice stat. It's a nice thing to have. However, if you put pressure on a quarterback, that leads to things like turnovers, it leads to fumbles and interceptions and all that good sort of stuff. And that's why I always respected Marcus Lawrence. DeMarcus was always a guy that could come out in that field and put pressure onto a quarterback. He didn't get the numbers that everybody thought that he should have and all that other fun sort of stuff. But again, if you look at the pressure rate that man gave and the turnovers that resulted in his pressure, that can be a very big successful key to any team. Of course, Micah Parsons never understood how to stop the running game either. And you look at this Cowboys defense, what has been the bane of their existence for many years now has been the inability to stop the run. Now, is Kenny Clark going to be a guy that can do that on his own? No, but he is going to be more effective at it than the guys that they currently have. So again, I saw people out there saying that it would be 2 first-round picks, a second and a third even. Well, your second and your third-round pick turned into a player instead. So again, that's the key here. Is the fact that, and according to Jerry and his little press conference today, Matt Eberflus and Brian Schottenheimer were still very concerned about how they're going to stop the running game. Well, Kenny Clark, you're up. It's that simple. And again, as far as getting pressure onto a quarterback, the number 44 overall draft pick was Donovan Izaraku, who had the second most number of sacks in college football last year. He is a very capable pass rusher. You didn't see that much of him on the left-hand side of the field. You saw him play on the right-hand side. That was done by the coaching staffs to make sure that you didn't see his full complement of stuff, and again, it was done by design. So now you're going to see him line up. He's going to go after the right tackle. He's a very capable young man. And even if he gives you just 8 or 9 sacks, but again, when he's out there and he can stop the running game, that is going to be the key. Micah Parsons was horrible at trying to stop the running game. And again, I've said this many a time. I like Micah Parsons. I like the guy. I appreciate his ability to pressure a quarterback and to get those sacks. I do appreciate that young man. So this is not an anti-Micah Parsons thing. But again, when you have a defense that cannot stop the running game, you are in trouble. You are always going to be in trouble. We'll see what happens this year. Obviously, now my predictions from the other night go out the window. I think this is a 10-7 team now. They're a 10-7 team. That's the bottom line to me. Is they will be 10-7 this year, 9-8 possibly. Yeah, losing Micah sucks. That's part and parcel of this business, however. And I've heard Jerry say something about the timeline and all this other sort of stuff. When you ignore an agent, this is what happens. So do I blame Micah Parsons at all for this deal? No. You know who I blame. Jerry Jones. You could say whatever you want about having a deal in place with a player, all you like, but until you've dealt with that agent, nothing is going to happen. So again, it really is bizarre. Micah Parsons gets $47 million a season with the Packers. That is a huge sum of money. The Cowboys will also now have $42 million in salary cap space. So are they finished making deals? We'll see what happens, because now they have an extra first-round pick. So if there's another defensive tackle or any position on that field that the Cowboys want, they can go after them. Plus, you can now sign Tyler Smith and Deron Bland to new deals, and you still have this money left over because you just saved $19 million a year in the salary cap. And again, as everybody should realize, once you sign a player, the salary cap number actually will increase because you spread out the player's contract and all that fun sort of stuff. So again, that's the key thing here, is looking at it from the larger point of view. Don't get too involved in Jerry and Steven and what they're saying. They have no concept of how to run an NFL team in this era. They just don't. That's the bottom line of all this. They could have had a deal done with Micah Parsons back in April easily. But no. And then, of course, Micah uses his tools that he's got in his hands, and this is the end result. But again, seeing the way that Parsons played, especially come those playoff games, he wasn't very effective in those playoff games. He's a smaller guy. He didn't have the physicality needed to go a full 17-game season, plus be ready to roll for the playoffs. I think with the edge room that the Cowboys currently have, with Ezeraku, with Marshawn Nealon, and we'll see what happens with Peyton Turner when he comes back from injured reserve. But again, the Dallas Cowboys, they have enough guys who can rush the passer. They do have enough guys. So it's going to be an interesting season. It will certainly be a very interesting time to watch the Cowboys come after teams now. Dante Fowler, he's going to be the other edge rusher. We'll see what Sam Williams has for us. Sam, you're on your last leg. It's time for you to show up and play. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And again, we'll see what happens with the interior part of the defensive line. This has been such a nightmare for the Cowboys for so many years. It really has, and it's been a piece of the pie that I've been yelling and screaming about for many years. And did I like the Mozzie Smith pick? No, I did not like the Mozzie Smith pick. I never liked that pick at all. And it's nothing to do with the school that he went to or any of that stuff. It was just the way that he played defense. You have to have a physicality. He was never, ever a guy that got off the ball quickly. That's how you get yourself into the backfield and stop a running back or stop a quarterback from following his center is by going after the offensive line quickly. He never has had that ability. Kenny Clark, he's 29. He'll be 30 soon enough. He's obviously capable of doing this. So that's going to help. But again, I go back to the fact that the Cowboys do have $42 million in salary cap space. If Jerry Jones believes that they can win now, I believe they go after another defensive tackle. They just need one more big bad body. And if that means trading Mozzie Smith to another team as well, I don't care. I really don't care. To see the way that the to see the way that this team has never had a solid defensive tackle since the oh Lord, I can't remember how far back. It has been horrifying. And Steven and Jerry finally got a defensive tackle. Again, if the Cowboys want to be a Super Bowl contender, you need all 7 guys up front who can stop a run. And you also need a safety who can also hit as well. They've already got that. They've got Donovan Wilson. Malik Hooker's more of the free safety, and or Marquise Bell if he comes in. Wanye Thomas, he can help stop the running game. Again, it's just a matter of getting these guys down. You can't allow running backs to go for 8-9 yards. No, you need to stop them at the 3-yard mark. That's it. That's all you're getting, or under that, obviously. Again, with the Cowboys, the team that I grew up with the Doomsday defense number 1, Doomsday number 2, all those guys up front understood how to stop a running game. Yes, they used to run the football more than they do now. I get all that. But again, even the teams in the 90s, Russell Maryland should be given a lot more credit than what he gets. Players like that. You need those big, solid bodies. And yes, Micah can rush a quarterback better than anybody else. But man, when it came to stopping the running game, he was bad at it. He was horrible at it. So again, I give this deal, and let me know in the chat what you guys give this trade as far as a grade goes. I'm going to say for the Cowboys, it's a B- trade. All right. I would have preferred that he goes to a team in the AFC, was what I was hoping. But again, week 4, Green Bay comes to Dallas. Mr. Schottenheimer and the other offensive coaches, you had best have a tight end beside Terrence Steele that day. And that tight end better not be going out running routes, because Micah Parsons is coming. So that'll be a scary thought. And I say that because Terrence Steele, I think, is a pitiful pass blocker. He's great at the running game. He is very good at the running game, but his pass blocking has been so horrific at times. And again, or heck, if Micah lines up against him, I'd go with 6 offensive linemen. I would have more protection covering Dak than you could shake a stick at that day. I'd use a 6 lineman as my tight end, but we'll see what happens. So again, Micah Parsons dealt away for a 2026, a 2027, and Kenny Clark. I'm hearing talk of you can't win with the picks that low. But who's to say the Green Bay Packers are going to have a great season if Micah has a bad back? Because I mean, hey, that's been the story. Cowboys sent him for an MRI. He left town yesterday for another opinion, apparently. But if his back gives him an issue, well, c'est la vie, right, Green Bay? And you've got Rashan Gary. So yeah, they're going to be a very, very nasty team on pass rushing. But again, you run at Micah. You run the ball at Micah Parsons. That's what San Francisco did to us. That's what Green Bay Packers did to us. They ran the ball at Micah Parsons. So if you've got a weakness like that, NFL teams are not stupid. They're going to run that ball at him. The Bears are going to run Swift. The Lions will come at them with Montgomery and the other running back that they got from Alabama there. Can't remember his name currently. Anyhow, that's going to be a downside for the Packers currently. Is how do you stop the run against Micah Parsons? Because, hey, I've said it, and I've said this for years, Micah needs to learn how to stop the running game. That is, yeah, Joe, you're right. It's a great trade for the Packers. They now have a super fast front seven. And if Jordan Love is healthy, oh boy, the NFC is on notice. Very true. Very true. But again, as I'm saying, just like every team has been able to run the ball against the Cowboys with Micah Parsons on that field, look out. He's going to get the same treatment. Jahmyr Gibbs is the other Lions running back. So again, this is the issue that I've always had with Micah is his inability to stop the run. The guys on the Cowboys currently up front, if they do their job against offensive line, you have linebackers in Maris Leofau, Damone Clark, Jack Sanborn, Kenneth Murray, Shamar James, and then later on this year we'll have DeMarvion Overshown, who, oh yes, by the way, he can come up on the edge and run at quarterbacks as well. That's going to be the key. As long as Clark is able to play a decent one technique for the Cowboys, then you have the turnover machines, Deron Bland, Trayvon Diggs, whether he comes back week 1, week 2, whatever. Those guys understand how to get the football away from quarterbacks. They love doing that. Yeah, I agree with you here again, Joe. It game on Eagle. I actually don't, Joe. I actually don't think the Eagles repeat this year. I have your Washington Commanders winning the NFC East. The Washington Commanders will win the NFC East. And it is low risk for Green Bay. The other guys do need to pick things up now for them in Green Bay, unlike what was happening in Dallas. Unlike what happened in Dallas. Because again, there was nothing in the middle of the line for the Cowboys to stop the guys from going right up the gut. Right up the gut. And that is never a good thing. Never. You have to be able to stand your ground in the middle of that defensive front and hold guys, stop guys from getting to your second level. That's your job. And when you beat those guys up long enough, guess what? It becomes easier to go right after the running back who they're running behind. That's how football should be played. The whole thing with like I said before, those doomsday defenses, every member of that line, whether it was a defensive end or the interior guys, could stop the running game. You look at other defenses out there. The Eagles team is a very hard team to run the ball against. That's why they've made it to the Super Bowl. That's why they won. And the Cowboys have failed for years and years and years at that position, defensive tackle. So yeah, Micah Parsons, he may have gotten you all those sacks, but again, when it came time for the playoffs, Micah was exhausted. Micah was exhausted, and you could see that in the second half, in the last 6 games of this last 2 seasons, his numbers went down. In the 6 regular season games before the playoff, and then when they lost in the playoffs, his numbers were down. So again, it's one side or the other. Yes, he could get you the 12 sacks a year. That's great. But I need 53 guys who can go out and play you 17 weeks and be ready for a playoff game. So again, the Packers do have a solid front. Their linebackers are pretty decent as well. But again, I don't mind the fact that later on this year, Overshown will be able to rush a passer. You still got Donovan Wilson who can come in and light up a quarterback too on a safety blitz. So, you will still get to the quarterback. And as I mentioned before, this young man, Izaraku, he's got one great bend. He is one smooth customer. I mean, Mitchell Green was the top sack guy last year, but Izaraku was number 2 in the country for the NCAA, and to get him at pick 44 was an absolute steal. It was a steal. So again, we'll see what happens with the Cowboys. I now I'm going to say 9-8, 10-7, and again, it's all because of Dak. It's all because of Dak, and having Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. That those 2 guys are going to light things up. But again, when they do play against Micah Parsons, I'm telling you, I would use that 6th offensive lineman as a tight end, like you see the Lions do on their plays. I would do that all game long to slow down Micah Parsons. Bottom line, Hunter Lipke in behind those guys. You've got to keep Micah Parsons off of Dak Prescott in that game. So you have talent. You have enough talent there to do it. And I want to repeat myself. This is not an anti-Micah Parsons thing. I like the young man. Did I always like the things that he was doing off the field? That stuff doesn't really concern me if you have a podcast and all that other stuff. It was the things that he was saying on the podcast that would bother me. Like 2 years ago when he said, "I've seen everything there is to see on a football field." Excuse me, you're 24 years old. You have no idea of everything that happens on a football field. Period. That bothered me. When he said that, it really did bother me. again, it's going to be it's going to be an interesting season. Now, where the Packers go, it's anybody's guess. That is going to be a very, very tough division again this year. It's going to be a very, very tough division all over the NFL this year. You look at the AFC West. I've got Denver going ahead of Kansas City this year because their defense is so solid. And Bo Nix, hey, he played better than many of us thought he could. And then you go up to the AFC East. I've still got Buffalo winning that. You go out to the NFC West. I still have the Rams winning that division. You have got the Washington Commanders who will win the NFC East. The NFC South, I think, still belongs to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The AFC South, I think, belongs to the Houston Texans. The AFC, the AFC Central Division, that's always nasty. But you got to give Baltimore the hand there, obviously. And again, I really feel this move for the Cowboys Sanford's back is a big question mark, but was this just a ploy to get him out of training camp and all that other fun sort of stuff that you do with veterans? Is because from what I've been reading since he's been back at practice, Joe, Matt Stafford has been lighting it up in big ways. So again, we don't know how his back is going to hold up or not. But again, I have the Rams winning the NFC, and I have the Bills winning the AFC this year. It's going to be the Rams and the Bills, and I'm going to take Matthew Stafford to beat Josh Allen in a Super Bowl. That's just the way I think the NFL is going to go this year. But again, the Cowboys, as I've said many times, for years and years and years, have failed to address the defensive tackle position. There are enough good DTs with a second first-round pick. You can finally get a new young DT in there who can stop the run. Even if the guy is taken in that first round, you don't need to put pressure on him to sack a quarterback, guys. I've said this time and time again. Pressure on a quarterback is just as important as the quarterback sack. Quarterback sacks are a nice little stat. Quarterback sacks don't lead to interceptions. They might get you a fumble, but they don't lead to interceptions. Pressure on a quarterback leads to interceptions. So again, if the Cowboys do find that DT for next year, because Clark is now under contract for another 2 seasons, I believe. I think he's 3 seasons, because he did a 4-year deal last year. So you still got Clark there for another 3 years. But again, the Cowboys do have $42 million in salary cap space. Are they done? I don't know. I don't know the way that they're going to go about this. I would prefer that they sign Deron Bland to a new contract, Tyler Smith to a new contract, which both have been in discussions with their agents. Oh, Jerry, you actually do talk to agents. That whole thing that he did to Mulligetta was just ridiculous. It was totally ridiculous. His pride, his ego got bent. Well, tough luck, Jerry. The whole thing about the way that Jerry talks, and if you watch his The Gambler America's Team thing on Netflix, yeah, he's a great salesman. He's a great marketer. He is the best marketing guy I've ever seen in the NFL. Bottom line. But does he understand how to run a football team? No, he never has. He has never had the ability to run a football team. Jimmy Johnson made the deal for Herschel Walker. And then again, you're going to see, I think on the Netflix documentary here, Jerry is taking claim for the Herschel Walker deal. No, Jerry and the owner of the Vikings shook hands, and Jimmy Johnson and the GM of the Minnesota Vikings did that deal. That's the end of that. But again, this deal here, I really feel is a B- deal for the Cowboys, because obviously you lose Micah Parsons and those number of sacks and all that other jazz. But again, the whole idea of putting all of that pressure on Micah Parsons was also a ridiculous notion. Because again, he doesn't have the actual size to go up against the offensive line every down, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said to Jeff last week when we did our show with the 53-man roster. I'm not putting Micah Parsons on the field in first down against the Eagles, because you know they're going to give the ball to Saquon. I'm not going to put him out there against the Lions with Montgomery and Gibbs, because he's not good at stopping the running game. So again, it all becomes 6 of one and half dozen of the other. But you need to understand the way that the Cowboys used to win constantly was having a big, mean, nasty defensive front. That's how they got success. Whether it was under Landry or Jimmy Johnson, that was the success point. Everybody always talks about the offense that the Cowboys could put out in the field, especially in the 90s. You guys better remember that defense was number one in that league 3 years. For 3 years, they were the number one defense as well. Defense wins you championships. Yes, they have enough talent between Dak, CD, and Pickens, and Jake Ferguson to go after other defenses. But if your defense is never enough to stop an opponent, you're going to lose a playoff game. And how many now have we lost? We've lost way too many. So again, losing Micah Parsons does suck to a degree. We'll see what Jerry Jones decides to do, because there are other guys who are going to be available. And it could even be another running back that they bring in. We'll see what happens with the Cowboys going forward. But again, they have enough talent up front now so that their linebackers get a free and clear shot at going after runners. Because when you're dealing with an offensive lineman as a linebacker, you don't have the size and strength to get those guys off of you. Well, guess what? Saquon just went for 14 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs just went for 23 yards. You can't have that stuff happening to you. And that has been a huge issue for the Cowboys for too many years. So again, I give this deal a B- currently. I think for the Green Bay Packers, it's an A+ deal for them. I agree with you, Joe. The risk for the Packers, again, like I said, it's going to be, okay, it's your turn now to have guys step up to try to stop the run when Mike is on the field. Again, the whole idea of being able to stop teams in the NFL is to prevent them from running the football, make them a pass-happy team, and your defensive backs go crazy and your linebackers go crazy with pickoffs, with fumbles. That's how you win. You don't need to put a quarterback on his butt. If you put enough pressure on that quarterback, he will make a mistake. We've seen it time and again when Trayvon had 11 interceptions or when Duron had 6 pick sixes for touchdowns. That's what you need. So again, Micah Parsons, I wish you well in Green Bay. If your back is all fine and dandy now, we'll see if it is for next Sunday. Not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. That's the way I feel. That's the way I feel about. Hey, Joe, I was saying that same thing. I said the same thing to Jeff. I don't want him on the field on the first downs because the running backs were just going crazy on the guy. That's I agree with you completely, Joe. And again, the whole thing with Micah was his inability to stop the running game. That goes away. I know Peyton Turner has injured his ribs, so he's out for at least 4 weeks. But Peyton Turner with the Saints was a very good run stopper as well. He didn't go after the quarterback and all that sort of stuff very well because he doesn't have the same type of bend that Donovan Ezeraku has. Ezeraku, that young man has the bend that any NFL coach would love to see. But again, I now have to say, okay, the Eagles will beat us next Thursday night. That's just part and parcel of this. But again, this whole move has been designed to help the Cowboys at their biggest need on defense. And that's the ability to stop the damn running game. So again, Jerry Jones, he can say what he wants about Micah or the agent and all that other jazz. Obviously, this move was in play for several days because you don't have an agreement with a team on a new contract immediately like that without being in contact for more than half an hour. Micah is worth $47 million a season, kids. That's some big money. Big money. It's going to be an interesting year. It's going to be a very interesting year. So with that said, I appreciate everybody who came in to make comments tonight. This is the Blue and Silver Breakdown. We will be back Tuesday night to cover the game coming up on the 4th of September versus those Eagles. And I really hope everybody has a good evening. You all take care. See y'all later.